welcome to day number 4 of the Tempest Risk Management Small Business Cybersecurity Series. I'm Andy Ziegler, president and founder of Tempest Risk Management, helping small businesses to prepare for and manage through any type of disruption or emergency. So in today's video, we're going to cover phishing and smishing. Very hot topic these days and really one of the main vehicles for cyber attacks, and we're going to explain why and how to avoid it. So first of all, you're probably aware and familiar with phishing, which are fake emails. Smishing, in case you're wondering if you haven't heard of that before, is SMS or fake SMS messages or text messages. You might be getting these and starting to get them more and more. Usually they have a link within them, and if you click on it, it would probably take you to a fake website and trying to get some information from you. There's also fake voicemails, recorded phone calls, and even fake live phone calls exist as well. There are entire call centers overseas and nationally and internationally dedicated to making phone calls, cold calls, in order to try and get your information. Sometimes they already have some of your information, like your name, your address, maybe even your date of birth, all in an effort to try and get your information and details. So let's talk about why. What's the purpose of all of this? Well, their purpose, they're in it to make money in some way. Either that or cause some sort of terror or punish a company because they didn't like what they're doing. But really their main purpose is to fool you into either giving them username or passwords or personal information in order to commit identity theft, deploy ransomware, get into your checking account or your finances and actually transfer money out, some other type of cyber attack. Now, again, most of the time the purpose is to eventually steal money or fool you. A little bit less often is sort of the classic hacker, thing that you see in movies where they're, sticking it to the man and trying to attack a website and bring it down. It still happens. We've actually seen that in terroristic disruptions, like the Colonial Pipeline. While that was a ransomware attack, it also served to, disrupt basically society, at least in US. All of the concerns and things that were happening around the election. That really wasn't, hacking per se, but the DNC email server that was hacked and all that information released on WikiLeaks, that really wasn't because of money, maybe tacitly, but the main reason behind that was to kind of try and embarrass the DNC, release some information to the public, sort of like a modern day, they look at themselves as sort of a modern day Robin Hood. We're not going to get into whether you agree or disagree with some of these actions. That's just the reality of what they're trying to do. So how do you spot a fake message? And this applies to both phishing and smishing. So whether you get an email or a text message, these are the things you're going to want to look out for. Number one, most often, poor grammar. Any type of misspelling. Usually they're threatening in nature. So they're going to say something like, if you don't reply, your account's going to be shut down, or your account has been compromised. Click here in order to validate, things like that. Usually the email name doesn't match the actual email address. And I'll explain that on the next slide a little bit more, looking at a live phishing example. If it contains attachments, especially Excel files or anything that looks like an executable like .exe, do not click on it. It's most likely some type of virus. And if it's unexpected, if it's just really kind of coming out of the blue, be suspicious. And if you're not sure if an email is legitimate or not, what you do is if it came from a company that you do work with, let's say your bank, don't reply to the message if you're suspicious at all. Call them directly on the communication channel and vehicle that you are used to communicating with them. So if it's a bank, call the number on your checks or call the number on the back of your credit card. Ask them, is this message legitimate or is it a phish? They're used to seeing it all the time. They'll probably be able to direct you. So let's go ahead and look at a couple examples. Here's the first one, and I talked about the misspellings, right? Email notification is misspelled. Take a look at the email address, and this is what I mean. So the name on the email is IT department, but it doesn't match the actual email address at all. Sometimes in some email programs, this won't show up this way. You actually have to double click or somehow select or view the name of the person who's sending it to you in order to see the email address. But do that anyway. Check it out if you're suspicious at all. We see that the URL here is obscured with a bit.ly URL. Be suspicious of those. And any fake antivirus text, they're going to try and fool you in a number of different ways. Let's go ahead and take a look at another example. Here we're kind of seeing some of the same things where we have a an invalid email address that doesn't quite match. We have an executable attachment or something that looks suspicious, some sort of attachment that really shouldn't be happening. Any type of incorrect spelling is always a red flag, poor grammar, and a signature that frankly just doesn't make much sense. Be really suspicious. All right, so what if you get fooled? You actually respond to this email, you put your information in, and you realize afterward, oh no, this wasn't legitimate. I gave them my information. So the first thing you need to do is whatever company that they were pretending to be, let them know as soon as possible, so that way they can put a flag on your account and keep an eye on it. Change your passwords and lock out any of the accounts that were compromised, and not only the account that was compromised, whose username or password or information you gave, but change your passwords on all other accounts that share the same username and password. Now, you shouldn't be doing that, but let's be realistic. Most people do reuse the same username and password. So at the very least, go out and change them all. See our earlier video on good cyber hygiene in order to learn how to avoid getting into that problem, but still make your life a little bit easier. Notify your credit reporting service. Consider putting a lock on your account, putting a lock on your credit to try and prevent it. If this is a company information or company compromise, notify IT immediately so that way they can take advantage of it. Wherever possible, turn on two-factor authentication. Another really good option is a service like LifeLock. I wish I were getting paid to endorse them. I'm not. Somebody give them a call, let them know that I'm talking them up, please. LifeLock, great service. They actually monitor the dark web. They monitor the use of your username and password. All kinds of great services available with LifeLock. So I would definitely recommend looking into some sort of monitoring service like that. Even if you haven't been compromised or had your identity stolen or been a victim of a cyber attack, this is one of those preventative measures. Vigilance and being smart about it can prevent the attack, but if it happens, those are the actions that you're going to want to take. For more brief videos on cybersecurity and other small business continuity topics, subscribe to the Tempest Risk Management YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Please feel free to leave comments or questions. Share this and other videos with your friends and colleagues. I appreciate it. My name is Andy Ziegler, and remember, at Tempest, we help your business survive and thrive.